Hey, Soul Sparklers, it's all happening.
With a soul sparkle.
Happy to have you here today for this fabulous conversation about magic and miracles. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful to be here.
So perfect, really, that you're one of my first guests on this new show because it really feels like you embody so much about Soul Sparkle living, right? You are a light in every room you walk into, and you create magic wherever you go. So it's really fun to have you, and I'm excited to dive in.
I'm
So,
honored for that reflection. Thank you.
uh, one of the things that you and I have talked about a lot is connection, building community and connection, and you have really dedicated this season of your life and this chapter to doing that through your Dragonfly Club and movement. Do you want to share a little bit about the inspiration for how that came about and um, what you're doing in the world with it?
Yeah, I'll give you the medium long story so we don't have all day. The Dragonfly Club came about from feeling a desire to connect people and their gifts on a wider level. At the time, just before it was created, I was coaching people privately and one-on-one. And in a sacred, beautiful psychedelic medicine ceremony, I was given this download to take my light, my unique gift, and go from one to one to many. And so the Dragonfly Club was created. The first iteration of the Dragonfly Club was a 12-week metamorphosis program that really brought people from a place of like kind of whatever they're doing now to sharing more of themselves in the world, whether that was through healing gifts or things that were maybe hidden away that didn't feel like they were ready for mainstream or felt like they might get judged. And we were making it safe for them to bring out the most woo-woo parts of themselves. And then that first ever cohort, when we were approaching the 12 weeks, they said, we're not done. Like we don't want to end this. And so that became the invitation for me to create more Dragonfly Club points of connection. And so now we have 3 different group programs, a retreat, a 3rd annual sanctuary retreat that we're running this summer again, and multiple ways that people kind of connect behind the scenes and without me, which is really fantastic as well.
You're the catalyst, right? You're the fire starter. What made you choose the word dragonfly as your logo and your
Oh my gosh, that's maybe my favorite conversation. When I was growing up, we used to play GI Joe in our neighborhood. We had a little ravine behind the house, and we'd run around in the green space back there with our little fake Uzis and guns and stuff. And we'd play GI Joe. And the GI Joe cartoon, for anyone that remembers or has watched it or knows of it, had all kinds of different like names for the characters, right? Not unlike any Marvel Universe kind of comic or what have you. And so I was just enthralled by dragonflies. I just thought they looked like these mini little helicopters like flying around the place. And so I became codenamed Dragonfly as a kid. So now, like many years later, I'm going through the very early stages of a spiritual awakening, and I'm choosing to work with all kinds of different energy workers and so on. And one of the first was my Reiki master. And at the first ever session with my Reiki master, I finished on the table and noticed 2 dragonflies. One was in a matchbox, and the other one is in a paperweight. And at the time, I had been listening to a lot of Gabby Bernstein. And one of the things that Gabby Bernstein talks about is choosing a sign from the universe so that you could know whether you were on track or you were getting feedback that this was the right thing, or et cetera. I chose dragonfly. And so then they started just appearing everywhere, one of which was at my Reiki master's table. And so I asked her, could I take a photo of those? And she said, oh yeah, dragonfly, transformation. And I was like, what? Pardon me? And so she pulls up this spiritual totem meaning of the dragonfly, which goes into very long detail about the spiritual meaning of it, meaning transformation. And the dragonfly, the insect itself, lives the majority of its life underwater as a nymph. And then under the cover of darkness, it crawls out of the water up a reed. Its back splits open, the wings come out, and then it lives the rest of its life as this kind of iridescent, colorful being. And so that just felt like it was so timely and perfect for what I was doing, you know?
So perfect. Oh my gosh. And how many of us go through those periods of time in our lives when we feel like we're underwater or we're, in the reeds and then finally make your way out to the sunshine with your wings out. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Beautiful. Really beautiful. It's funny, the whole reason we're even having this conversation is because a couple of weeks ago I was out for a walk in my neighborhood and this bird was like dive bombing me, like would not leave me alone, just kept like following me. And I would turn around, I'd stop, and it would just stay there. And then it would follow me and then flitter around. And I got to the point where I was like, this feels like a sign of something. I'm not sure exactly. So I took a picture of it and I sent it to my girlfriend. I was like, hey, can you check and see what the meaning of this is for me? And the meaning was it's time to speak, to use your voice to speak truth and share your message with the world. And I was like, wow, okay then. So here we are.
here we are
You
sharing
know,
messages with the world.
it's fun, isn't it?
You know, you started off talking about magic and miracles too, and I didn't want us to step over this opportunity to talk about how you and I kind of came together very recently, which also felt like kind of a little bit of magic and miracle, where I just happened to notice on a Facebook post that you were going to be in Austin the same time I was going to be in Austin, and I said, "Oh, we should make a point of like connecting." And then, sure enough, not only did we connect, but we spent like the majority of our time in Austin hanging out together at this conference, which was amazing and magic and miracles, you know?
Totally. And I think it's so cool when, like you said earlier, when bright lights recognize each other. That it's funny because someone actually asked me recently, I don't think it was you, but somewhere asked us, oh, you were with me. Lucas, our other friend that we met, he asked, how do you choose people in a room when you walk into it? Like, how do you choose who to speak to? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of, I usually like scan and I'm like, yep, that one. And I'm like, that's gonna be my friend. And that's how I felt when I met you. I was like, oh, yeah, we're gonna hang out. This is gonna be awesome. And I had the best
Easy.
time. I had the
And it,
best.
yeah, it really was. It was like, it was easy. It felt good. It was like everything in alignment. And there was lots to talk about, you know, like we didn't really stop talking.
I know, which for those of the listeners that don't know me very well, I'm not, I mean, I talk to people that I know very, very well, and I'll talk about everything, but I'm not really good at like chit chat, like small talk. So I think what was so cool about meeting you and really just the whole vibe of that event was the depth of the connections and the conversations that we could have. And this really comes back to the work that you do, Jonathan, around almost like letting their freak flag fly, like people that, they're maybe a little bit different from the normal regular conversations, but I know when I was always talking to you, it just felt so like I could just tell you stuff that I don't normally tell most people because it doesn't always make sense. So you have a very welcoming energy around those conversations as well, which is really lovely.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you. I think, you know, if you really think about it, probably everybody has a freak flag that they'd love to fly. And it's just about giving yourself or feeling the safety and the love to be able to fly that flag. And so communities that welcome that and celebrate that are uh, needed.
totally. And I think now more than ever, because I think a lot of us, I mean, I know for myself, the last 5 years, ever since 2020, I think people have felt very isolated. And I don't know that we've all made our way back to what life was
Mm,
before that, or even the revelation that it's pre and post, and we're not the same as we were before, and we won't ever be the same, right? And it's now kind of restructuring who we want in our life and how we want to show up and maybe deepening the relationships either that we did have or long for and releasing some that just no longer align. I think we're
yeah,
we're all changing so much that finding those people is really now even more important, that we can
yeah.
feel known in a way that we probably never have before.
We've felt the loss of social connection and how that affected us, and then coming back into the possibility and the ability to have social connections again, it's meant that I think people are restructuring and being very intentional about what connections they maintain. And probably as a result of noticing how easily they lost some connections that probably were based on very little tangible kind of substance.
Yeah, more like situational relationships, right? Like convenience versus depth. I know for me, I've kind of just I've my circle is smaller, but it's deeper than it
Yeah.
ever has been before, and I prefer that actually. I'd rather have a smaller circle that I'm really, really close to, really tight with, and very honest about everything. Not that you're not honest, but there's a level of truth telling, that has to be there. And I think for those of us that have gone through those kind of transformations, it's important to be able to find those people that you can, like with us, it was just like, and here's my whole story, and I'm going to tell you everything in like 5 minutes, right? That's rare, but also not impossible, and I think that experience for me was evidence that if you put yourself in the right rooms and you surround yourself with extraordinary humans, the the ability to create that depth of connection in a short period of time is there. It is available. It's just giving yourself permission. Like I wasn't even going to go to that event, which is funny because it's been a long time since I've been in that big of a group. I lived on an island by myself for a long time, and it's like I'm isolated a lot, and you're much the same way. You travel on your own a lot as well. So to be able to put yourself in that kind of environment and not have a nervous system meltdown, which I think you really helped me with that too. Like you're very grounding. And I was like, okay, it's all right. It's okay. I can go talk to people and then come right back to, we called it home base. And I think finding those connections by going to events is really important, which is also part of why you do what you do. And you bring people together to be able to make and create those types of connections in a very intentional way, which is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. Home base. We all need one.
We all do, really, we all do. And so why don't you tell us a little bit more about your event that you have coming up? I know it's going to be spectacular, and I'm super bummed to miss it. But
Yeah. The Sanctuary Conscious Leaders Retreat. So that was another one of those situations where the first ever cohort that went through the Dragonfly Club were also riffing one day and said like, "Oh my God, how cool would it be if we all got together in the same space?" Because at that time we were all Zoom buddies. We only knew each other on two-dimensional screens. And so each time I hear these things, I'm listening, at a deeper level, thinking like, that sounds like a crazy idea. And also it sounds completely doable. So I said, you guys leave that with me and I'll be right back kind of thing. And I think it was like a couple of weeks later where I'd already gone and sussed out what location could work and all the details of it. And then I presented it as an invitation to come join Sanctuary. And so our first year there was just 9 of us all hanging out at Sanctuary. It was only, I think it was 2 nights, 3 days, but it was amazing to see people arrive at a physical location, get out of their cars, and to see these people in the flesh for the first time was like, it was really surreal. And, I'm thinking like, oh my God, you're taller than I thought, and you're shorter than I thought. And then to like hug, like to really embrace each other as the friends that we already knew, right? We'd spend a lot of time online together. And so that was an amazing first experience. And then it was, talk about magic and miracles. It was so magical and such a miraculous event that I thought, we're selfish to contain this. It would be great to just keep offering this to dragonflies that have been through my program, but what would it look like to open this up and invite others who are feeling, called to be a part of the magic as well? And so year 2 was wide open, and I opened it up to speakers and presenters that wanted to come and lead workshops. And we jumped from 9 participants to 22. And that was last year. And so that was amazing. It was like so incredible to see all these people in a circle together that had come from international, right? And many of which, I'm creating a platform for people to come, in some instances, come and deliver their first ever international talk or deliver a workshop to people in a different country. And for many to come and check out Canada for the first time, which was really cool too, on my home turf. And so here we are this year, we're going into year 3. We've got the same number as last year, and there's still 6 weeks of runway leading up to the event. And if history repeats itself, which it usually does, it's like this is the time when people are going, okay, now I'm making my plans for the summer. And I've been watching this retreat for a while. And so I expect the numbers are going to spike in the coming weeks. And it's just a really amazing place to come together. There's like equal parts of like, it feels like summer camp. It also feels like a professional networking event. It's also like deep soul rejuvenation by way of nature and retreating. We hang out around the campfire. There's sound medicine. We become like really close friends in a very short period of time. And I also like to think of it as an activation portal, because when you're around soul-led, heart-centered beings like that who have incredible gifts and want to share their magic with the community, we all walk away with something. And the whole premise behind it too is that I'm not a big fan of big stages. I think there's a time and a place for stages, but this was something different. This was, let's come into community and surround ourselves in a circle. And if we all give a little, a little slice of the pie, we all receive a lot. And that was really the point of all of it, was that everyone comes and gives a little bit and we all get to walk away with lots.
The best, the best. I've done in-person retreats and events, mostly internationally, for 12 years now, and truly, there is nothing better than watching someone show up in one state, and when they leave, they're completely changed in the best possible way.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put themselves, if they've done some transformation and healing while they're part of it, and just the gift of being like heart to heart and belly to belly, like it's the best. And I think so many of us, yet we're so worn out by being online, like just over it a little bit, that being able to spend time around a campfire, and that is where the magic happens. It's not, and it's interesting because I shared a little bit yesterday with the group around the experience that we had in Austin last week, and just the speakers were amazing and the content was fantastic, but it was the connection with the other people that was the best. Like that was the best. And I think we miss that so much when we are behind these screens all the time, which again, I'm excited that we can be having this conversation, you and I, here on Zoom. Of course, it's wonderful, but nothing compares to being in real life. There's just nothing like it. And
Yeah.
it's so healing for so many reasons. And people, I think, underestimate the benefits that they're going to receive. And I know that so many of us that do curate events, we're very intentional around those moments and how we can um, impact others. But to me, the miracles happen in the space between, the unplanned.
Yeah, absolutely. There's times when there's the schedule to follow, and there's this presentation and this workshop going on, and tonight we've got a wear whites pool party kind of thing. But there's also lots of times throughout the retreat where there's nothing going on. It's free time, and I'm looking around at, like, this person's meditating down by the water, and this person's stretching, this person's shooting hoops over at the courts, and there's just so much really cool stuff going on. I remember, speaking of healing, you know, I'm a firm believer we heal in isolation. We also heal in community. And there was a moment at the closing ceremony last year where we had our circle set up in a big rope. So we're all holding this rope and with tension, right? You can feel the tension on the rope. So we all feel each other. We all feel the presence of each other. And when one moves, we all move, right? So in that moment, one of my friends, clients, colleagues raises their hand and says, "Jonathan, I'm feeling called to be in the center of the circle right now." I said, yeah, please, by all means. And this is like completely unscripted. I don't know what's going on other than we're going to hold space for whatever's supposed to happen right now, and we'll see what unfolds. So Heather, she's cool for me sharing this story. Heather hops into the middle of the circle, and she places her hands on her heart, and her eyes are closed, and we're just all there holding space silently for her. And then intuitively, she's sort of feeling guided to like lay down in the grass. And so she lays down in the grass. And we've had some like sage and some cedar burning. And so there's this really beautiful kind of sacred space that's been set up. And so she lays down in the grass. And I think she's just experiencing the embrace of like, it's okay to take space for yourself. It's okay to be witnessed, and it's okay to shift into a new place, new state, new reality, if you will. And so a few moments pass, and we're all just holding onto this rope and silently holding the space for her. And then she gets up from laying down, still seated, and she lets out this long like woo, and then stands up, and it's just like there's tears in her eyes, and it was just this really special moment. One of the other participants who had become really good friends with her over the retreat, they didn't know each other beforehand, comes into the middle of the circle and sits with her for a moment, and then they hug, they embrace, and then it wraps up. But about a month later or so, she sends me a message and says, you remember me going into the middle of the circle at the end of the retreat? Well, I'm remembering I bought this mug at a farmer's market or an artisan market prior to the retreat. And on it is this native woman who is in the middle of a circle surrounded by dragonflies. And she was like, I didn't know at the time that I was that woman in the circle on the mug. And I was like, whoa, like that, you can't script that stuff, like that's just incredible. And so she was feeling like that woman was guiding her to her own healing moment in the safety and the love of community. And that's really something that I feel is my job as the host and the facilitator of the experience, is to create the safety and the love that allows people to be themselves, to wave that free flag and share their gifts with everybody, and also to feel safe being witnessed by others.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a such an honor and blessing to be able to hold that space and watch that happen. And I know that your journey, I mean, obviously it's been a journey for you personally to get from probably where you started to where you are right now to be able to hold that. Do you want to share anything about what that journey was for you and what it took for you to get to the place where you have the capacity to love and serve in the way that you do?
Ooh, I owe so much of it to my beautiful friends and spirits, the plant medicines. When we talked about the pandemic, and so at the very beginning of the pandemic, or just prior to, when there was all this talk about going into lockdown, I was like, I can't even imagine lockdown. I was like, lock me down next to an ocean and I'll be fine. I'm a quadruple water sign, so I got lots of desire to be near water, as you can see. And so I found myself in Ecuador, and I didn't go to Ecuador looking for plant medicine or ceremony or anything like that. I was aware of it, and not through Ecuador necessarily, but I'd been researching ayahuasca at the time and was just kind of interested in it. And then my friend whose villa I was renting next to the ocean mentioned he happened to know a shaman, and the shaman and his wife were running a retreat over just after New Year's. And when I heard that, I was like, that's the call. Like, I feel the calling right now. I think this is a retreat that I'm going to be at. And so, without going into great detail, it was just a very profound healing experience for me. It shifted so much in my life. It allowed me to forgive some people that I was holding, just myself in prison, really. But it allowed me to forgive some people and set myself free. And then it's been from that point, that was 2020. end of 2020, beginning of 2021. And it's just been a constant evolution of healing and surrendering and releasing and also embracing love, which is, I can observe the world and see how hard it is for people to embrace that. A lot of people say it and a lot of people believe it, but to embody it is an entirely different thing. We are so wound up with judgments and ways in which we try and protect ourselves by not being love. And so to open yourself to be, completely vulnerable and to not love back, I think that's the reason it's so hard, has been the challenge that I've chosen to embrace. And it continues to deliver the most amazing miracles in my life, including dragonflies who show up in community because they want that. They're wanting that too. And it's not easy to completely be that all the time, and yet it's so rewarding and worth every ounce of effort. So that's kind of the short version of it. It's really been a continuous deep study of my own spiritual kind of presence and what am I here to do? What essence am I here to share with the world? If I incarnated into this body in this lifetime, why me? Why now? All those questions I ask myself. And so I just keep leaning into it more and 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 more. And however hard it gets, it's kind of like, yeah, but we lean in, we face it, wherever the resistance is, we go that direction.
Yep, you lean into it.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting too, though, because it's almost like the more you allow yourself to embody it and then emanate it, it's what's reflected back, right? And so I think the more we can step into and hold that frequency of like unconditional love, we talked about this, it's like the more that's what shows up, and if we give ourselves permission to just be that, it's like that's to me where the right people, the right opportunities, the right conversations and connections, collaborations, contacts, clients, like whatever the thing is that you're supposed to be led to, that's when, like you said, the lights find each other, at the perfect time. And that's
Yeah. Yeah. You become a vibrational match for more of the same. And so like attracts like, and if you are love and you be love and you embody love, you'll see more of that in your life. Mm-hmm. And anything that's not that, this is maybe where the hardest step is. Anything that's not that it's my personal challenge to love that too, even though it's probably vibrating out of my life because it's not in alignment, but I can love it on the way out.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that is the work, isn't it? Yeah. It's like an onion. And just when you think you got something figured out, it's like, oh, wait, there's another thing. It's a refinement, isn't it? It's a refinement of releasing that which is not meant to be in your reality.
I love the onion because I'm a firm believer, and there's layers to this, right? Like the healing journey is one of discovering the multiple layers in which we have either programmed or hidden parts of ourselves to protect. Mm-hmm. I think back to one of the first coach I ever worked with, but one of our early conversations and working together. And at the time I was dealing with a heartbreak, but it was more than that. It was my own broken heart about not loving myself and my inability to self-love. And so that was the first journey, was learning to love myself, forgive myself, and to stop judging myself. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he said to me, this is pre-pandemic, and I was sitting across the desk from my coach, we were coaching in person, which is really cool. And he asked me, do you know where we're going to find your heart when we're all through with this? And I leaned in, like I was like got fascinated by this question. I was like, where? Like, look, where did my heart go? Because I genuinely thought either I'm fucked up, or I don't have it, or it's broken, or I thought something along those lines. And so I leaned in. I said, no, where? And he said, right where you left it. And it just became so apparent that like the heart's there. it's just buried under layers of protection. Like we put walls up around our heart to protect ourselves, and that's usually from the moments or situations or years of trauma that anyone's experienced. And we
Mhm.
just continue to put these layers up. And so the healing journey, once you choose to be on that, is really about tearing down those layers in the walls so that you can discover the pure pink juicy beating heart on the inside that is extremely vulnerable but also very strong if you know how to allow yourself to be that too.
Yeah. And it's not an easy journey to find that. Like you have to be really brave, you know? Really, really brave. It's so much easier just to like put the walls up and be like, it's good, I'm good, everything's fine. But man, once you get into it, I saw this quote the other day that I wrote down because I thought it was so good. I want to share it. It says, "We don't fall in love with the other person. We fall in love with the version of ourselves we get to be with that person. They are just the catalyst to reveal the love that is our true nature."
Oh yeah.
And I think if people really understood the truth of who they really are, they would be blown away by
Mm-hmm.
the pureness of their heart and the beauty of their soul. It's amazing. You know, it's so cool. We did that one exercise where they made us stare. We had to do the eye gazing, you and I at the,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, ooh, I see your soul. I can see your soul. Like it was just the coolest thing. But I don't think many of us ever get to have uh, that moment of reflection, like for someone to really see us. I think that's very, very rare
Two
that
way. Yeah,
is, you know?
both ways. Like there's the I talk about witnessing as being a healing modality. Like when
Yeah,
you truly take the time, the energy, and the love to witness somebody, right? To really appreciate the miracle that is standing before you
yeah.
and the unique expression with which that miracle is expressing itself.
Mhm.
It's it's a gift for the observer, the witnesser, but the person receiving that feels honored, seen, heard, celebrated, appreciated, and it's extremely healing, right? And so that's a lot of the work that I'm doing inside the Dragonfly Club and our different programs is to allow people the safety to drop the walls and be fully witnessed. And when you're fully witnessed and celebrated for the truth of who you be, for your authentic essence, it becomes easier for you to become fully expressed in the world because you realize, I won't be judged by everyone. And there's people out there that see this as more valuable than the mask I was wearing beforehand.
Right. And what a gift. What a gift to humanity for all of us to fully embrace our authenticity. And I don't use that word a lot, but like the truth is, and share that, you know. And I think so many times we don't have those safe spaces. A lot of people don't, you know, and they've gone through their whole life trying to perform and be enough and be worthy of belonging and all of those feelings, you know. And I think so many of us that are in this world that you and I are in, we're trying to create those opportunities for people to feel seen and known and loved and
We
supported.
are creating those
Yeah.
opportunities.
Because that's what we are, right? So we're just the expression of that now in the world.
Yeah.
Mm, it's so good. Yeah. You're doing good things, Jonathan Carroll.
We are doing good things and inviting people to it so that they become gooder.
Yeah. Yeah. When I think like back to that onion, it's like the more layers we release, the more healing that's done, the more almost the more activation. I know, and for me, last week was also an activation, and I think you felt it too, where it's like, all right, we need to double down. We need to go deeper with this. We need the messages to get out to the world. I think we dared each other to do a TED Talk. I'm pretty sure that's what happened in that for books to be written, for conversations to be had, and I hope that this platform or whatever this is that I'm creating here will serve in a way to maybe instigate some more conversations, some more opportunities for people to feel the way, like the way we witnessed each other and the way we felt witnessed in that room full of all those incredible humans. We can't always be in real life all the time, but we can create opportunities for little moments of activation where we can feel seen and um, hopefully provide that safety and that space for more people to feel the same way.
Yeah. I hear a few different invitations in our conversation for those listening. I imagine that there are people listening that feel called out around either beginning or doubling down on their healing journey. Like, put yourself first, because you feeling whole, you already are whole, but feeling whole and ready to be the most authentic, integral version of yourself in the world is what the world needs, right? We
Yeah.
need you on blast. And
Yes.
then I think there's probably other people that are further down the journey and are feeling called to play a bigger game and to be a bigger, more amplified expression of themselves. And
Yeah.
so whatever invitation you're hearing, know that it's for you, and it only gets juicier by accepting the invitation.
Amen. Amen. And I think back to when you started off, um, letting people be who they are and honoring that and letting their little woo self or whatever they feel like they've been hiding, like that's where the good stuff is. That's where the magic lives.
Mm-hmm.
And you allow that part, and I'm talking to you about like, well, I'm gonna do this thing and blah, 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 and get all excited about it. And I'm thinking, he's gonna think I'm crazy. Because that's how a lot of people feel that have these different ideas or different, creative, expressions. And you were like, oh, I get it. I totally get it. Like I'm picking up what you're putting down. And that is a gift of helping people make sense of all the things that they want to create, whatever it may be, whatever comes up for them, and giving themselves permission to bring that forward and to share that with the world. Because I actually feel that as we move forward in this age of, technology, AI, etc., the 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 roots of who we really are going to be even more important. Like the true expressions of our soul, because that can't be replicated. You can't use technology to access those parts of yourself that are really what the world needs, right? And so, thank you for always just saying yes to what creative ideas and where you feel those nudges of ways to serve. And I'm going to keep doing that as well. And we can hold each other accountable, you and I. How's that sound? Along with
Done
everyone on this podcast, right? So,
and done.
yeah, I think it's time. It's time to shine our light so even more people can hopefully feel the way we feel and feel supported and seen, and that we're not crazy, that our gifts are the magic, and the deeper we dive into them, the more of a blessing we're going to be to the world. Truly.
The world is going through some big shifts at the moment, and there will be people that are waking up as a result of these shifts, because some of these shifts are painful.
Yeah.
And typically when you wake up, right, the awareness, the curiosity starts having you look for people that can help point the way. And
Yeah.
so lights shining brighter are a great way for us to help others who maybe have recently been in the dark and are seeking light. And so we have to be shining, amplifying, sending out our signal to the world so that others can see that there are helpers out there.
I love it. I love it. Such a great conversation. Is there anything else in closing that you'd like to share today? Do you feel like we covered, at least for this first one? Because I think you might have to come back again at some
I
point.
can't wait to come back. I think, if anyone's feeling like they're in search of a community where you feel included and welcomed and that celebrated, the
Yeah.
Dragonfly Club is a great one. We have a free Facebook group that people can find easily. Just type in the Dragonfly Club, it should pop up. And then if anyone wants to reach out and say hello to me, I'm totally available for chats. I'm
You
not
have a book? I just got
not
your
up.
book.
Oh yeah, I have a book,
So
Way of the
excited.
Dragonfly. Yeah,
So I'll make sure to get all the links, Jonathan, and put in the things that they'll need to know in order to.
Beautiful.
How's that sound?
That sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. What a blessing. Always a blessing to spend time with you.
Yeah, likewise. This was fun.
Thank you so much.
Sparkle with a soul sparkle.